Hi everyone, welcome to my CCNP Switch Lab 1 VLAN VTP Trunk EtherChannel by Manny. Guys, we are going to do this lab, so let's try to understand the diagram. In this diagram, I have two switches, switch 1 and switch 2. Switch 1 is the VTP server and switch 2 is the VTP client. As per this lab, the trunk links are port number 2323 and port number 2424, but depending on your port what you are working on, the trunk link could be different. For today's lab, I'm going to use 2122. Let's check the trunk link what I'm going to use. So the configuration, whatever you are seeing, instead of 2324 as a trunk link, I'm going to change to whatever I'm seeing on the switches right now what I have. So I'm going to create VTP domain as many advantage and VTP server switch 1, VTP client switch 2. Let's do all these steps. So let's go through quickly the conditions. So again, as I said, if the interfaces are different on your pod, what you're working on, use those interfaces instead of 23 and 24. Define host names for switch 1 and switch 2. Okay, we are going to do that one. We are going to make switch 1 as a VTP server and switch 2 as a VTP client. We are going to use VTP domain name as many advantage and VTP password as many ADV. I'm asking you to create 5 VLANs, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And give a name VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 30, VLAN 40 and VLAN 50. I'm asking you to configure IEEE trunking. So the best way what I'm going to do, guys, before I create the VLANs, I'm going to create the trunking. So I'm going to do step number 4 first, then I'm going to do the other ones. Here it says on the trunk, make sure native VLAN is 999. So just see, they're not asking me to create native VLAN 999, but rather I'm going to put native VLAN as 999. And we have to only allow the VLAN whatever defined on this particular question. So VLAN 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. They are the only VLAN we are going to allow through the trunk link. And then we are saying on both the switches, associate first 3 ports to VLAN 10 and next 3 ports to VLAN 20. And we have to make sure to move the ports to forwarding state immediately. So this one basically says port fast. So guys, let's configure the trunk, then let's configure the first 3 sections, then let's keep on continue. I want to show you some magic trick to how to make the switches kind of a default state. So I'm going to go to the switches now. This is switch 1. So simply what I'm going to do, I'm going to put VTP mode as transparent. Then I will type no VLAN 224094. Basically what it does, it deletes all the unnecessary VLAN and it says a couple of VLANs cannot be deleted. I'm going to do the same thing here. Config T VTP mode transparent. Then no VLAN 224094. We have to understand VLAN 1 cannot be deleted as well as this legacy VLAN cannot be deleted. So if I type show VLAN, all the information is I should have a, just say I have VLAN 1. So this VLAN cannot be deleted at all. 1 cannot be deleted and this VLAN cannot be deleted. Here also same thing. Show VLAN. Show VLAN. Okay, that's a good sign. Because I'm accessing pods remotely, is slow right now. And also let's do one thing. Let's do something, guys. That means default interface range fast Ethernet 0/1 to 6. I want to make sure they're not assigned to anything. So because it's you have to give sometimes a space here. I'm going to type the same command on the other switch also. So basically I'm wiping out all the configuration related to those ports. And also I'm going to say do show CDP neighbor. So in my case 21 and 22 connected, so I'm going to wipe out those config as well. So I'm going to say default interface range FA 0/21 then space 22. So this way you're starting from a scratch configuration. Okay guys, as I said, let's configure the port, trunk port. So interface range fast Ethernet 0/21 to 22. Okay, always give a space in the real devices. Then switch port trunk encapsulation .1Q, switch port mode trunk. Then it asked me to put switch port trunk allowed VLAN. So let's put switch port trunk allowed VLAN. I want to allow 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Just want to give you the idea, we haven't created the VLAN yet. And finally switch port trunk native VLAN 999. Why we are doing, we are asking, so I'm going to put no shut end. So let's see the command show run interface fast Ethernet 0/21 and fast Ethernet 0/22. So I'm going to copy these commands to the other router, this router also. So as soon as I type configure other side, I'm getting VLAN mismatch error. So I'm going to say interface range fast Ethernet 0/21 space dash 22. So I'll go to the switch number 1 and I want to type all these commands. Then simply type no shut. I want to make sure the successful trunk is established. So the way to say is show interfaces trunk. Yeah, it says mode is on. Native VLAN is 999. I'm allowing VLAN 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. This side also same thing. Show interfaces trunk. So that's very powerful command, show interfaces trunk. If I type show VLAN, guys, you're going to see all the ports belong to VLAN 1. There is no other ports in. Okay, we haven't created the other VLAN, so I'm going to create the VLAN. So now let's go back to our questions here. Okay, right now I'm going to start this. So basically I did part number 3 and 4. So 3, 4, 5 is done, guys, right now. 3, 4, 5 is done. Sorry, 4 and 5 is done. I'm going to create 1, 2, 3. So switch 1 is a VTP server, switch T is VTP client. Let's do that one. Then let's enable. So if I go to a notepad document, I can say VTP domain many advantage, VTP password many ADV. Then VTP mode is server on switch 1. So let's do this one, guys. So this one switch 1, copy, config T. Okay, so I added those ones, so I can check right now. If I type show VTP status, if I type show VTP status, it should say this many advantage and it has a number of existing VLAN 5. Those are the default VLAN. And configuration revision number is 0 because I haven't done anything. So I'll come to this switch, config T. So here what we are going to do, we are going to make VTP mode as client. So guys, do the lab couple of times until you get a hold of the lab. So right now they are running VTP server client mode. How you know they are working? There are two commands, show VTP status. Okay, let's see, guys, there we are getting a message. So if you get a message, the only way to stop is we have to shut no shut. And I'm going to type show VTP password. So many ADV. Let's check here what is the VTP password. Show VTP password. So right now when I type show VTP status, the MD5 digest has to be same because it's VTP server client. Let's check. If not, we will bounce the port. So what I'm going to show VTP status, because in the server client mode, technically the MD5 digest, this number has to match. So I must see 032 049. Let's check here. I think it's not show VTP status. It is not. So what I'm going to do, so there are a couple of ways to do something. What I want to do now, I will shut and no shut the trunk interfaces. Let's see whether this is going to do the trick. Show interface range fast Ethernet 0/22 space dash 22 and 23. I think that's right. Show CDP neighbor. (21) and 22. So I'll go to 21 space dash 22 interface range FA 0/21. Then I'm going to type shut. So what I'm doing, I'm kind of re-establishing the trunk link. Then I'll type no shut. If this doesn't work, we have to go and see why the trunk is not coming up properly. So first of all, show interfaces trunk. Good. Show VTP status. So our VTP is not synchronized for whatever reason. So many advantage, that's right. I'm looking at the domain name. Show VTP password. Many ADB. Let's check here. Show VTP status. Many advantage. Show VTP password. Many ADB. So let's create the VLAN and see whether this is doing anything. So I'm going to force, so VLAN 10, name VL10, VLAN 20, name VL20, VLAN 30, name VL30, VLAN 40. So I'm giving the names as per the ask. Name VL40. Finally, VLAN 50. Name VL50. So let's do now show VLANs just to see what's going on. Yeah, I'm seeing all the defined VLAN. Let's see if the let's see the VLAN, where the VLANs are propagated. Yeah, VLANs are propagated. I think now the MD5 digest should be matching. Let's try one more time. Show VTP status. Okay, now it is 78 DA. Let's check here. Show VTP status. Just see 78 DA. So at the end, so what we did when we create the VLAN is trying to advertise the VLAN so that it try to understand. And if you look at here, the configuration revision number is 5. On this switch also configuration revision number is 5. So we have done number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and show. We did a couple of show commands, but now we have to do first 3 ports should be VLAN 10 in both the switches. Let's do that one, guys. And second 3 ports should be in VLAN number 20. So this switch, if I type show IP interface brief, okay, first 3 ports. So what we'll do, config T interface range pass Ethernet 0/1-123, switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 10, then spanning tree port fast. Then we have to do no shut. We have to do the same thing on the other switch too. So let's do. I'm going to copy this one. I'm going to make everything at once. So switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 10, then spanning tree port fast. So guys, remember this command, this very important spanning tree port fast is Cisco proprietary feature. So if you want to move the port to forwarding state immediately, you must type port fast. Then finally you can do no shut. Now let's do the remaining ports. So I had to go to interface range fast Ethernet 0 slash, so 1 2 3 we can put 4 to 6. So I'm going to bring the same thing to the other switch. Okay, so we can do quick. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 20. Then I'm going to say spanning tree port fast. Then I'm going to type no shut. So these are the commands I'm going to give to both the switches. Just see what I'm doing is I use the notepad heavily. So that's done. We'll go to this switch. That's done. So how I know everything is working? For example, I can say show run interface FA01. You see all the command I type, and also show run interface FA04. You'll be seeing one is on 10, this is on 20, same thing here. Show run interface FA01, then FA04. And another way to look is if I type show VLAN, I should see the VLANs are assigned to the ports. Here VLAN 10 has 3 ports now, VLAN 20 has 3 ports, that's the requirement. If I go to this switch, show VLAN, I will see 3 ports in VLAN 10 and 3 ports in VLAN 20. And one more time guys, the very important commands are, the very first command you are going to encounter in the real world is show VLAN. Show VLAN give you history of whatever VLANs configured right now and what VLANs are associated. And there can be VLAN from 1 to 4094, remember that one too. Then now I will do show VTP status is another important command for Cisco iOS. And show VTP password. So show VTP password will tell you if any password is configured on the switches. Then show VTP, if I put a question mark, it will give you all the information. Even counters is very powerful command. It tells you all the summary advertisement, subset advertisement, and advertisement requests from clients. Okay, now let's go to the PDF and see what else we have to do. I'm planning to increase the bandwidth, enable port bundling, and switch 1 should be negotiating and switch 2 should be listening. So basically I'm going to create, as per the diagram, I'm going to create port channel 12. So as per the diagram, I'm going to create port channel 12. So let's do that configuration on 20. So the verification wise guys, if I type show spanning tree VLAN 10 right now, I'm on switch 2. Switch 2 is a root because both the ports are designated ports. Sorry, switch 1 is root. If I go to switch 2, I should see one of the port is blocking. Show spanning tree VLAN 10. So once we enable port channel, we will not see blocking port. So right now we are going to see a blocking port coming here. Just see port number 022 is blocked. So port number 021 is a route forwarding. So in the class, we are going to look at spanning tree in detail. So we are going to combine with the EtherChannel. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go here. I'm going to add out the best practice. Interface range fast Ethernet 0/21 space dash 22. So let's do in parallel both switch 1 and switch 2. So we can do at the same time commands. The very first command I'm going to do is, I'm going to say channel protocol LACP, channel group 12 mode, in this case is going to be active. On this switch, channel protocol LACP, channel group 12 mode passive. So that's the idea. So we want to make, so right now it's creating a port channel 12. So what I will do, I'll go to that interface port channel 12 on both the switches. So just see guys, so the iOS is automatically creating port channel 12 whenever I type the command channel group 12 command. So remember that one. So let's go to this switch 2, exit, interface port channel 12. So here I'm going to do a trick, show run interface FA021. Basically whatever command I type on the trunk port except these two, I'm going to copy to port channel also. So in the exam also you want to make sure you do the same thing. I'll go here, do the same thing now here. So what I'm saying, if you type show run interface FA021, 22 and show run interface port channel 12, you see port channel 12 has 2 less commands. So you have to make sure that's in the, because this is the proper way to do. Normally whenever you type on port channel, it is inherited to the member interfaces, but we don't want to take any chances. So it's best to do in the exam as well as in the real when you practice the questions. So guys, how you know port channel is working is a very simple command. Show EtherChannel summary. So right now it says port channel 12 is capital S, capital U. Capital S stand for it is layer 2, U is up. And before we saw in the spanning tree protocol, we saw one of the port is block port on switch number 2. Let's try the same command, show spanning tree. I want to bring up the earlier command just to see if you can find that earlier command on the switches, just to, okay, this is the command. So initially when I type show spanning tree VLAN 10, I saw there are 2 ports, trunk ports, and one of the port is a block port. But if I type the same command one more time here now, just see it is now port 12. It's a one link, one logical link, so there is no block port. So that's the main advantage of port channel. So port channel is also called EtherChannel. Port channel advantage is there is no port is blocked. So I want to show you. So I think we have done the lab guys here. Yeah, lab is done. So to increase the bandwidth, but I want to show you a couple of other commands. Yeah, so I'm showing you all the commands, how to type and all the commands wise. And if you have done the lab, good luck for your CCNP exam lab. But let's go to the lab environment. So there's a command called, if you go to config T, there's a command called port channel load balance. So you can define the load balancing algorithm. So this switch support destination MAC and source MAC. So I'm not going to change anything default right now. If you type show EtherChannel load balance, so there's a command to change the load balancing algorithm, and there's a command to see the load balancing algorithm. So current for this switch, the load balancing algorithm right now used is source MAC address. And also guys, remember there's a command called show MAC address table dynamic. This is a very powerful command. It's going to display all the learn MAC addresses, because so dynamic is all the connected devices MAC addresses. Again guys, good luck in the switching lab. I hope you enjoyed this particular session. Just make sure you guys do the lab again and again multiple times until you're okay with the concept behind VLAN, VTP, trunk and EtherChannel. Good luck. See you guys in the next video.